And we are live. Happy Monday, Beefy.
Oh, I was just about to say the same thing to you. Happy Monday, Savannah.
We got our coffees. We can cheers.
Yes, cheers. Love it. Mm, 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 mm.
All right, it's Monday. It's September 15th already. That's crazy.
That's
We
wild.
are kicking off fall retest week this week, but we know this is a week in review, so we will talk all about everybody's crazy PRs next week on the podcast.
Mhm.
But this week, we want to talk about pretty exciting transition we're making here in the gym. This past weekend, Ant says happy Monday. Happy Monday, Ant. This past weekend, we had a very seamless transition into our HYROX training, our little weekend training club, because we have Beach Brawl about to get done here in the next couple weeks. And then we're looking forward to a big old HYROX race at the end of October, Halloween
Yep.
to be exact. And Beefy and I are both doing it. How are you feeling about HYROX coming up, Beef?
I mean, slightly a little salty, Sav, because of the fact that I thought we were going to do it together and then we weren't doing it together. And then I find out you're doing it with another Caitlin. So I have some feelings about that. But I'm just excited that we're going to do it still together anyway, in the sense of going with the team. I mean, we have over 40 athletes signed up and ready to go and crush this thing. So, like, that's insane. Just to think
Mhm.
about back in April. Do you remember how many we had back in April when we did it? It was probably what, like 20 of us,
Yeah, it
maybe.
was still a great group of people for it being the first time we've done a HYROX. I mean, we've had a lot of experience with the hybrid fitness racing through DECA and DECA Atlas, but April was the first time HYROX came to Atlanta, and we had a good little squad do individual. We had some doubles and we had some relay teams. But I think everyone this year is just doing individual or doubles,
Doubles,
correct?
yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, and I mean, it's super exciting too because a lot of the people that they were interested the last time, but they were unsure, and now they're feeling, fit, strong, lean, and ripped, and they're like, "Let's go, let's do it." So I mean, I'm super pumped. I always get excited. We love competing. You know that you love competing. I love competing. We compete together for years now, and it's like getting all these people to finally join in on something. I think is probably my favorite part of us going to compete now. All these competitions that we're doing.
Yeah. And I
So.
love seeing it build up people's confidence. I think the way that our programming is structured with having all of our training cycles with a baseline and retest week, people have such a clear picture to see how strong and how fit they get just by, coming to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week. They can do all these amazing things, and it just gives them the confidence to go test their fitness outside of the gym at an event like HYROX, which I think most people would agree is not intimidating event to do. It's a
Yeah.
ton of people. It's a long race. You've got all levels of athletes from professional high rocks racers to people just coming from their local gyms to try it out. So
Mhm.
I'm always super proud to see our athletes step up and want to do something outside of their comfort zone.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and that's something that I always tell people that is what just makes us as a gym so great is
Mhm.
that we give people the ability to explore fitness outside of the gym. So like usually they just come to us most of the time and they're like, I just want to get strong or I want to lose this weight. But then they see us doing really cool stuff, triathlons, marathons, CrossFit and functional fitness style competitions. I mean, we really open up this door that people have maybe thought about doing it before, but they were never in a space that they thought that they could do it. And a lot of times I feel like people are just like, well, I'm going to have FOMO, so I'm going to try it. And then they crush it and they're like, oh my God, well, now I'm going to do it again or I'm going to try something different. So it's such a great doorway that um, leads to people really figuring out what they're capable of. And I just, as a coach, I love that.
Yeah. And I think we have such a good structure. And the reason I wanted to talk about this today, like I said, we had a cool, like, intersection of training for events happen this past weekend. But the recipe for success for our athletes is exactly the same. So on one side, we have how many? 30 people training for beach brawl.
Yep.
Beach brawl is a CrossFit competition. So we have a lot of gymnastics movements. We have a lot of barbell movements. Neither of those things you see in HYROX. And the time domain for these workouts is under 12 minutes for all of them. So extremely short, extremely fast, doing very complex movements very quickly. And the athletes preparing for that event have been coming to the gym, I'd say at least 4 times per week. And they've been doing one weekend training session with us on Saturday mornings. And our athletes training for HYROX, which is at least 60 minutes, most likely 80 to 90 minutes of work, doing not necessarily the most complex movements, but movements that do require a lot of endurance and a lot of strength. And the recipe for those athletes is the same. It's coming to the gym 4 times a week and doing one training session on the weekends on Sunday morning. So it was just really cool to see those two things happen at the same time, and how it really doesn't take as much extra work as people think to be ready for something like this, especially when the base of their fitness is OxFit.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just like we've talked about it before, especially after you and I went and ran the New York Marathon, is that, we meet people and are like, oh my gosh, how much are you training? How much are you running? And I was like, well, I ran, a 5K once a week every day, once a week for a month. And then I just trained at the gym, and then we ran that half once, and then we went and ran the whole thing. And people were just like, oh my God, I can't believe you went and did that. And it's just a true testament to how you as a head coach programs, everything that we do from baseline week to retest week. And it's just like, you come to class 3 to 4 times a week and get in that one extra session on the weekend. I mean, you can literally do anything. Just like when you and I did HYROX back in April, we both looked at each other and we were like, well, we didn't come to as many trainings as we wanted to, but let's just go. Let's just do this.
Yeah. But imagine how much better it would have been if we had come every weekend. Which I know people are planning on it. They've been excited about it. We had a great crew kick off our first, we call it Run Club, but right now it's geared toward HYROX. So HYROX Run Club, whatever you want to call it, 7:30 Sunday mornings, whether it's in the gym or at the track. It's happening. We're getting ready for the race. And the first one was this past weekend, and we had a great turnout. But the reason, I feel like I've said this over and over again, but I'm going to keep saying it because I keep seeing people make the same mistake. And we have athletes, I'm not going to name drop anyone, but there are people that get really excited. They sign up for HYROX, or maybe they have a partner that's kind of dragging them along a little bit, saying, you're doing this with me. They sign up the first week of training. They don't come to class. They put 10 miles on their legs, just running themselves into the ground that first week. And then I don't see them in the gym for a week. And then I finally see them, ask them what happened. And they say, I'm super sore. I started training. I don't think I can do it. I can't run that much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you won't be able to do it if you keep going the way you're going. And so I just want people to trust us, trust the process. We've had years and years of preparing athletes for so many different types of fitness events. This is our second time training athletes for a HYROX specifically. We know how to get you to and across the finish line, feeling proud of yourself and feeling really good about your race. And it does not involve skipping class to go run by yourself, period.
Well, that's the thing though. And you're right, because people think that they're like, all right, I've got to run, almost 8 miles total between the stations and then going in and out of the stations. They're like, I got to run. Or they just solely focus on doing HYROX movements over and over and over and over again. And I've seen it happen even with people that don't come to our gym. I see people on Instagram, TikTok, and all they're doing are wall ball, sled push, sled pull. They're doing all these movements, and then they don't make it to race day. They've pulled a hamstring, they've hurt a hip, you can't just continuously beat your body down doing these same movements over and over and over again and expect to actually make it to the start line.
Yeah.
That's not intentional training. That's
Right.
just being a little like erratic. It's just being kind of crazy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is that HYROX is going to reward the most well-rounded athlete, and I think HYROX also rewards the most adaptable athlete. You don't always know how you're going to feel when you finish a run or go into a station, but doing the types of workouts that we do here in the gym and doing the Sunday morning training sessions, we're going to keep you feeling extremely strong. We're going to make you confident on those 1,000-meter runs, and we're just going to make you very adaptable to move between different types of stations and go from pulling and pushing and running to carrying. All of those things are things that we do in the gym, whether you realize it or not. So training your sled push and your sled pull doesn't always look like a sled push and a sled pull, like you just said. So even if you don't always recognize it on the surface for what it is, just know that those thoughts and, you know, looking at the movements you have in HYROX, all of those things go into the programming we do to get you ready for the race, even though we're not saying, okay, we're going to do a HYROX 3, 2, 1, go, and we just do the race over and over again.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like we talked about just a second ago with the marathon. It's where, you know, people think that they're constantly having to run, beat down their legs, and people are like, all I have to do is run. No, actually, you need to build leg strength, and you also need to build the capacity and the ability to sit in that space of hard. Like the same thing goes for HYROX. You get to a certain point that it's not about your ability to move fast or run fast anymore. It becomes that I'm in a dark place and I have to keep going and I have to keep pushing. And you just settle into that feeling. So it doesn't matter how much running you actually do, having that mental strength is going to carry you further than just running all the time.
Yeah.
So,
and Lauren and I actually spoke about this morning briefly, and she wanted to let us know that, yeah, they're going to be so ready. They had a great baseline session yesterday. So yeah, they set some goals for themselves, set a baseline yesterday, but really the point of those weekend training is to, you know, kind of put to work all the individual strength training, endurance training we do during the week, but also get used to that uncomfortable time domain, because we're all used to working for, you know, 45 minutes to 60 minutes of work is not something that I think any OxFit athlete would be unfamiliar with, but it's that extra 20 minutes that is what we need to practice. So during those weekend sessions with Lauren, with you, with Ant, myself, that's what we're going to be working on, is just getting our body used to moving for a little bit longer. And that's what I like to tell athletes when they just right off the bat say, I can't do a HYROX. And I was like, I don't know. I think if you really wanted to, you could move your body for an hour and 15 minutes. And they're like, yeah, probably. But, and I was like, no, like, if you can stay moving for an hour and 15 minutes, even if you take some little breaks here and there to walk, like you can do a HYROX.
yeah.
You just have to get used to just starting and getting across the finish line, even though it takes a little bit longer than what you're used to.
Yeah, I mean, when we were running, I remember you and I were just chit-chatting. We were like running. I mean, towards the end, we were definitely out of breath. And we did, at times, walk a little bit before we got to the station, ran into the station. We did always run out. But it's like people think that there's some kind of proper way to do HYROX. They're like, I have to run the whole time, and I need to be this fast, and I need to, you know, hit the stations like this. It's like, no, this workout, just like coming up with Beach Ball 2, this workout is going to be what it's going to be when you get there. It doesn't matter how much training you've done. You know, there are other factors that play into it the day of. And it's like just going there with the positive attitude, having that can-do, you know, mindset. You're going to do it no matter what. So it's just like you just get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pop up just so maybe we can look at the movements, and for people that have signed up for it and haven't done it before, people that are just curious about like, what even is this? I know everyone could look at this that goes to OxFit and you recognize all of these movements. It's all stuff that we do every week, even if it's a little bit higher reps or more volume or whatever. But it's 8 stations, and to start the race and in between. So you start with a 1,000-meter run, you have a station, then you run, then a station. So 8 stations total. And if you do it with a partner, you guys are running together, and then you are splitting up the stations however you want, which I think is actually really helpful to always be running with your partner. I think it makes the race more fun, because if you weren't running with your partner, you would just be by yourself for like 5 minutes every round, and that's just not fun. But yeah, ski, sled push, sled pull, burpee broad jumps, rowing, farmer's carry with kettlebells, sandbag lunges, which are super light, and then wall balls. So
Yep.
all stuff that our athletes feel really confident with. And during our weekend training sessions, we'll mix in these movements. We'll mix in movements that aren't in HYROX at all, because that's part of being adaptable and just keeping your training exciting and not just hammering the same thing over and over.
Well, it's like, I mean, you just talked about that. It's just because the movement isn't exactly what it's supposed to be. Like, say, talk about the farmer's carry. Just because we're not farmer's carrying all the time, that doesn't mean that we're not working on our grip. We're hanging from the rig. We're holding a barbell for unbroken reps. Like, there are so many different ways that we can work on grip that doesn't necessarily have to just be farmer's carry.
Yeah. And Lauren is chiming in with a great point. So she says the hardest part is the transition between strength movements and the running. It's like going from the bike to the run on the triathlon. Legs feel like lead. And this is great, because I also wanted to mention that training the transition between types of movements and having to go back and forth between running and then moving a very heavy object. So training that transition is just as important as training the pieces individually. So I know that there are a lot of people signed up for Atlanta HYROX right now that are training on their own, and they're weightlifting and they're running, but they are not cross training. And the athletes that are cross training and training these transitions between types of movement, those are the ones that are going to dominate HYROX. So if you're an athlete that isn't doing that, you need to find your way to a gym that's training that way, and we are. So I think that's the best way to have success in that race, because Lauren's right. It can be a shock to go from pushing a 300-pound sled to then having to run really fast. So.
I was just going to bring that up, because when we hit that sled last time for the push, the pull wasn't that bad, but that push, the way my heart was racing and the way I was sweating when we got back on that run, I was like, oh my God, my heart rate needs to come down right now before we can really get this run going, because it's true. Like, if you think that you're going to run, push the sled or pull the sled, which is actually super heavy, and then just immediately blast off afterwards, you got another thing coming, because that heart rate's going to shoot straight up and it's going to stay up for a while. So you've got to practice being able to bring it back down, let it go up. Like like you said, the transition's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's been cool. I actually just signed up an athlete this past week who knew that she needed to join us to get ready for HYROX, because her partner is one of our members, and that member's husband is joining because they know they need to get ready for this race. So yeah, I would love to see more people get in the gym 4 times a week. I'd love to see them on Sundays at 7:30 to get ready for this race. And get there feeling good, and also get there without any question of, am I ready or not? Because I know that all of our athletes, by the time we get to HYROX at the end of October, they're going to feel ready and they're going to be excited, and they're not going to be dreading starting the race, which, depending on how you approach training, that can very easily happen. You get to race day and you're just like, man, I've done this already. I don't want to do this again. It's not fun. And I don't think any of our athletes ever feel like that.
No. And I speak from experience, and I know you can chime in on this too, is that years of competing, whether together or solo, that we've done, we are always ready for whatever it is that we're going to do. So it's not like, there may have been times like you and I, like I said, the last HYROX, we kind of missed out on a few trainings. Had we come to those trainings, we probably could have shaved another 10 minutes off our time, I think.
Yeah.
But like the fact that we still were ready, still crushed it. We've crushed all these other competitions that we've done. And that's just a testament to what OxFit does. Because we stay ready. Look, we could go out right now. If someone was like, hey, Caitlin, Savannah, you want to go on a quick 10-mile run? We'd be like, damn, not really, but okay, let's go. Yeah. We could do it. It won't be the fastest, but we have the ability just to go out and do anything.
Yeah. No, this episode is called How to Be HYROX Ready. You stay ready.
Stay ready, baby. And look, my podcast last week was, guess what? Being ready. Let's go.
I think Lauren has a great point that we can close out on. It's train with us so you don't blow up mid-race like most athletes. And she's right. I think this is a call for all athletes, whether you're a member of OxFit now, if you're not a member and you're getting ready for the HYROX that's on October 31st, this is where you need to be if you want the best HYROX race possible. No injuries, feeling good, and just training with a badass group of people that have been doing this and know what's up. We're going to get ready so you can stay ready.
Exactly. And plus, you don't need to train for months in advance. It doesn't have to be 2 or 3 months because then you feel ready to take on HYROX. We're training now. That puts us at like 6 weeks out from HYROX. We can get you there easily, without a doubt. So don't try and just do all this other stuff all kind of willy-nilly, thinking like, oh, I'm just going to train this individually and then I'm going to run. And it just doesn't work like that. Let someone program it for you. That's what we do. We take the guesswork out of it. You just got to show up.
Yeah, literally. All you have to do is show up.
Yeah. Bring your water bottle. Bring yourself. Meet all these awesome people. Let's get sweaty and let's train. Let's go.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, it's Monday. If you start now, you can get 3 or 4 workouts in, and then we'll see you this Sunday at 7:30 a.m.
Let's go. I'll be there.
All right. Thanks, Beef.
See ya, Salty.